Hello there, my name is Rick Yoder, and I am from Project and Portfolio number 6 with Miss Felicia O'Loughlin. Today I'm going to be talking about what I've been doing for the past month as a general video essentially, because I've been uploading all these other videos to my YouTube lately, so I'm just going to condense as much as I can into this one video and give a general understanding as to what I've been doing the past month in WD6. So, right here I have my website that I've been working on for the entire duration of the class. This right here is essentially the main project I've been working on using a framework called Laravel in PHP. It's basically just a simple e-commerce example where users can save products, they can delete them, or if they want to go back, they can. Then they can add things to their cart. And last but not least, they can also check out if they so choose. Right now, this is just submitting dummy card data. This does not accept actual credit cards. So this is just in testing right now. It's not actually for any real world examples or anything like that. Like, it's not something that you would use in a public environment. This is only for productive and production purposes only. And last but not least, I also have a profile page that just lists some basic information about the user. I'm currently logged in right now, but I can log out. I can just sign in. Oops. And this is just basic profile information, just email address, user since. Of course, I could have also implemented a user biography or some settings such as being able to update the email address and whatnot by sending a verification email to a new email address, but due to personal reasons there were a bunch of time constraints on what I could and could not implement with this. Anyways, besides that, I've also been working on a portfolio website, which I will now open up for you. Now, I'm probably going to make some changes to this because I actually want to have a portfolio or some sort of blog after this course is over, because I'm going to start getting very serious about front-end app development and whatnot once I finish my schooling at Full Sail University. But for now, it's just a bunch of posts about the WD6 class I've been taking this entire time. Essentially just explaining what the Agile workflow is. Essentially, Agile is what we've been learning throughout the entire duration of this course, in addition to either Laravel or Node.js to create an e-commerce prototype like I just showed you. Basically, the Agile workflow is a type of workflow that helps you plan and produce projects, essentially. It's made for quick sprints. It's made for like quick jolts of productivity, and it's generally just used to create things and update them very quickly and efficiently, basically. It's not meant for more long, drawn-out projects. Most agile projects are going to be maybe, say, let's say, for example, maybe 1 month long, in the case of this class, for example. Whereas, say, a long-term project might be between 6 and 12 months, maybe a year, basically, in the works. So Agile is meant to be faster, it's supposed to be more efficient, and it's good for teams. I believe it was up to 20, 25 people, somewhere in that range. Otherwise, it could be very off, maybe up to 15 at the very most, so it's not made for big teams either. So I have my blog post here explaining what Agile is, what the server-side concepts are that I've learned, such as how to authenticate a user in Laravel, how to authenticate a credit card in Laravel, and using the Stripe API to not only authenticate but to charge the card as well. And then I also have a WD6 demo link here, and I'm just going to ignore that because I haven't set up HTTPS on here yet. But essentially, this is the differences between the LAMP stack and the mean stack. The LAMP stack is where you use Laravel and PHP. Mean is where you use MongoDB and Node.js. I chose to use LAMP because I'm much more familiar with PHP than I am Node.js. Not to mention, I've been using PHP since I was about 12 years old, so nearly a decade now, actually. Have a link to some screencasts here. And let's see, besides that, these are the first two stages of the agile teamwork, or the workflow essentially, the envision and the speculation phase. Basically, these are the planning stages. The next phase after this would be the explore, where you actually get to do all of the work and whatnot, the actual development. These two stages right here basically are just all about project planning, making sure that agile is the right thing to do for a given project, and just seeing if agile is what you need to do or what is best for your project essentially, and figuring out what the team norms are, how often the team's going to be meeting up, how often the team is going to be getting together, basically talking about all their wins and successes, not necessarily about their losses or their problems. It's all about coming together and sharing success stories to keep the vibes positive and to keep the work environment very positive in the meantime. Of course, when you get into the explore and the adaptation phases, there are some troubleshooting steps in there where you do need to present your problems to the project manager, and then you go from there and you try to fix those problems essentially. So that is my portfolio website as it stands for now. And let's see. The next thing I want to talk about is my GitHub for the entire e-commerce project that I showed you at the beginning of this video. Should probably refresh that actually. So I actually have a whopping total of 40 commits. I have 4 branches, and of course I'm the only contributor. Now I'm in the solo work here, not there, but in the e-commerce project folder. And as you can see, we have some placeholder information in the README file, thanks to Laravel and the installation of Laravel, basically. I could update this entire thing if I wanted to, but just because of the fact that this is just a course and not an actual job or anything like that, I just left it the way it was, essentially, especially since I had a lot more work to do, clearly, with all these files here. So I got my public folder, which houses all of my assets, my CSS, my JavaScript. I don't use Sass yet, but I'm looking to get into that. Then I have my routes folder. The main file is the web.php. So this hosts all of the routes needed for the e-commerce project. This essentially tells the e-commerce site when I go to this URL, the /signup or the /signin, what page to display and what content to output essentially. So some really good stuff in here. I honestly didn't think that I would make as many commits as I did, but 40 is definitely a lot for me. So that is my GitHub for this month's course. And now the next thing I want to show is my Trello. So as you can see, there was a lot more stuff to do in the very beginning of the week than there was, or excuse me, the month, than there was, say, towards the end of the week, because a lot of the stuff in week 3 and week 4 was just wrapping up stuff from, say, week 1 and week 2. Now I didn't explicitly list all the updates essentially because of the fact that if I wanted to do that, I'm sure that it would have taken a great amount of time actually to just plug in all the different things I needed to do essentially. But it wasn't worth it at the end of the day because, like I said, it's just updating things. Like, for example, from week 2 I had to create a flow chart, which I will show you the revised version. But then in week 3 and week 4, basically all I'm doing is just revising that. It's not worth putting in the Trello board. Oh, I'm also just creating this as well. or revising this or putting it in the doing phase. Um, well, I do put things in the doing phase, but I only move them to the done phase when I'm actually finished with them. So at the end of the day, it was just a lot of work towards the beginning of the class, and don't get me wrong, it was a lot of work the entire month, but there was a lot more updating and just reworkings in week 3 and week 4 due to the fact that since we're learning Agile, we kind of have to be able to update things on a dime, essentially, I guess you could say. So update things quickly and, as you can see, create things and start things quickly. And last but not least, we have my flowchart for the entire project. So it starts out with a customer having an issue or a problem of some sort. Let's say they want to buy the latest products. They can either sign in or sign up. It doesn't really matter whether or not they do these steps though, because they could also just go straight to the index page and just start browsing products. From there, they have a product assortment they can look at, and do they add it to their cart or do they save it? Either way, the user gets redirected back to the products page, and then they navigate to checkout, or if they navigate to checkout, I should say, they fill out their credit card info and their shipping info, and the site uses Stripe in the back end to authorize and charge the credit card, and then the user successfully buys what they came to purchase, essentially. So it's a nice little flow chart with a few basic steps that actually entails the entire flow of the e-commerce website in a nutshell, essentially. I have a sheet here with the other content that I am to provide as well. So now that we are done looking at the project and all of the things that I use to assist me with it and planning the project and whatnot, the next thing is to talk about team features, team features and becoming a team player. Now, unfortunately, due to the lack of students in this course, we did not do any teamwork. There was no team project. As you can see, if I go back up to here, there's just nothing in this teamwork folder except for a test.txt document that I uploaded just to make sure that that was actually working properly in GitHub, essentially. So there was no teamwork this month, but I am a team player because of the fact that I can be very professional in a, I guess you could say, a productive environment, an actual production environment, I should say. Of course, this is just a class for school, so it's a bit different. Obviously, I have other commitments and whatnot with having 2 different jobs, technically 3, honestly. But if, let's say, for example, let's say WD6 was my full-time job and I was getting paid to do it, and I didn't have any other jobs. Obviously, if I have one full-time job, I'm not going to have 2 or 3 other jobs, basically. I would be able to work on a team. I really like Slack. It's a nice instant messenger. Been using it to correspond with all of my professors at Full Sail University. My only issue is the fact that Slack can sometimes be a little slow on certain computers. It's something that I've just noticed, but it's really great in general for keeping in touch with team members and keeping each other updated very quickly. You can also download the app on your phone or your tablet, so you can always be in the know about what's going on with a given project or something like that. So some really good stuff in terms of teamwork there. I would say that it's teamwork just working with Miss O'Loughlin. She's been very helpful throughout the month and understanding with my situation in my personal life. So, and we use Slack obviously to communicate those types of things essentially, which is great because of the fact that it keeps everyone on the same page essentially, and it keeps everyone on track with what they need to do for the remainder of the month or for the remainder of the given week or something like that. Let's see here. So I already went through the Git repo and the Trello. Let's see. Well, it says to talk about my latest Node.js project. Now, I was given the choice to use Laravel, so that is exactly what I used. And the reason why I decided to use Laravel and PHP again is mainly because I just have the experience with it basically. So I mean, I understand Node.js, the basics of it, but I really didn't have enough time to learn it in my previous course to fully understand it to the point where I can branch out and I don't need to look at a documentation every, say, 5 to 10 minutes or something like that. Other than that, I have a notepad document right here with info on how you can contact me. For all personal inquiries, you can send them to that email address. Otherwise, for business-related inquiries, you can send them to my business's email address. Thank you so much for watching my videos throughout the month, and thank you so much for watching this video. Have a good one.